Arr, the great deals at the furniture store. Yar savings. Backrooms is written and directed by Kane Parsons, who also made a YouTube series about the same concept. It's starring, boy, I'm gonna butcher the heck out of this name. It's starring Chitwell Ejiofor from 12 Years a Slave as Clark. It's also starring Renee Rensive as Mary, his therapist, and Finn Bennett and Lukita Maxwell as Bobby and Kat, two characters who work at the furniture store, and Mark Duplass as Phil, a mysterious scientist. Clark feels very unfulfilled with his life. He doesn't really, enjoy his job running a furniture store. He wanted to be an architect, and he's trying to work through these issues in therapy. So Clark ends up going down into the basement of his furniture store and walks through a part of the wall. Not the entire wall, just a specific part. Now, apparently this is called no clipping out of reality. I've done my research on this movie and the surrounding internet mythology, but the movie doesn't explain that. But what happens is Clark walks through the wall and ends up in this very odd room with this big stack of chairs and tables. They're stacked in this kind of messy yet simultaneously very neat way. It's like they're all over the place, but it looks structured, it was someone was kind of building some kind of intentional tower. And there's sort of this same messy, drab, yellowish color everywhere. It's a very kind of like surreal office vibe, but the architecture is just all over the place, and it seems to be this sort of maze with no solution that goes on and on and on. It's this surreal world, this sort of MC Escher meets an acid trip meets the 9-to-5 office life kind of world, where the more Clark goes on, the more he sees. There's a stop sign where the word's spelled backwards, and there's the more he goes on, there's like a Christmas tree room, and there's statues sinking into the ground, and it doesn't seem to have an end. And he goes back to his therapist, and he's like, I've discovered this expansion of the store, this extension of the store, and I want to map it out. And his therapist is understandably skeptical, but eventually, he gets those two people who work at the store with him. What they also do is they help film commercials in which he pretends to be a pirate, and he dresses up in a pirate outfit. And the whole thing is a very 90s vibe because this movie takes place in the 90s. But he gets those two working at his store to take a video camera with them and go exploring in the back rooms. So I thought this was a very original movie. And the atmosphere is compelling. When you walk out, you really feel like you've been transported into this strange, brave new world. And it's almost like, oh yeah, I'm in a movie theater. I love all the creativity, the seemingly endless levels. I can only imagine the time they had building this set, how much of a simultaneous headache and joy that would have been. I did enjoy this movie. It was creative and atmospheric, but I think it strangely kind of lacked substance in a way, in the sense that if you get rid of the setting, just get rid of the setting, this is kind of just a horror movie and a chase movie. And not one that's done effectively, but not one that we haven't seen done better a million times before. This one adds this sort of parallel world of MC Escher acid Office Space madness. I just couldn't shake the feeling that, boy, if you take this sort of endless labyrinth with no answers away, you just get a chase movie, a horror chase movie. And I've seen that before, and I've seen it done better than here. But it was done effectively here, and I did like the movie. It's just the ever-expanding back rooms are so creative and interesting and unique that it's not like I wanted some labored explanation as to what this even is. I think I appreciate the fact that we don't get that. I think even the surrounding internet mythology doesn't provide that. But let's say you don't know anything about that. And I researched it a bit, but I didn't know that much about it. The movie provides the movie's lack of a definitive explanation as to what this is and where it begins and ends is, I think, even a strength and not a weakness. It's not a hindrance. Like at the end of the movie, when the scientist played by Mark Duplass, his name's Phil, the scientist Phil played by Mark Duplass, is kind of explaining to Mary the therapist that, you know, this is their life's work now to try and understand what this is and map it out. It's obvious that people in this universe don't know what this is, and I think that lack of explanation, like, you know, who created this, why is it here, why, like, it just, I think that lack of explanation is a strength. Maybe one of the reasons this movie, despite all of its visual creativity, felt a little, and the fact that I did highly enjoy it and do recommend it, did feel a little thin to me, is the characters didn't. Again, like, horror movies don't always fully explore their characters, but, you know, good ones do. And, like, with this movie, we're kind of, like, presented with some characterization of who Clark is and a little bit of who Mary is. And then it's almost like the movie wants to get that out of the way so we can get to the good stuff of seeing everything. And I understand that. I'm not quite sure what the movie could have done to make it feel less thin, but I just think there was a way. Like, the closest thing we get to an explanation about what this even is from Clark. It seems like every room is like a memory of every other room, and just like there's just slight little changes, while the memory of the previous room doesn't quite get something right or something. And it's an intriguing explanation while also not being a full-throated explanation, which I think is great. There's even, like, supposedly people in this layer of the Backrooms that you can eat, and they just seem kind of, even though they're solid on the surface, they seem, when you open them, they seem just insubstantial and almost kind of empty. And I feel like that's a little like a metaphor for the movie. The movie, while it was inventive and atmospheric and unique and appropriately ambiguous, just felt, as much as I admired it, as much as it felt like it transported me to some other weird world, it just felt kind of lacking in substance and kind of thin. This movie felt like a conventional movie pretending it's not conventional. Like, the environment is so whacked out, but then you just put like a normal horror chase movie in that environment. I like this movie a lot. I loved the setting, and I liked the movie, but I wish I'd loved the movie because I loved the setting so much, and I loved the atmosphere generated by the setting and the mystique of all that. I thought that was really cool. And I do have to shout out Kane Parsons. This guy makes the Obsession director look old. He's only 20, and this doesn't feel even remotely like a movie made by a 20-year-old, in the sense that would have negative connotations of, oh, they're just understandably just starting out. This movie feels like something done by a seasoned professional that hit tons of marks, and the only reason I sound like I'm being a little hard on it is because what it did well, it did so well that I wanted it to do everything well, and it doesn't quite do everything well, but it's still absolutely worth checking out, and that grotesque pirate thing is a sight to behold. And I really like this movie. I like the weirdness of it. I liked how transporting it was. And this guy who's only 20, he's got a long career ahead of him. Jesus, this was a really, really more than solid debut feature film. And whatever mild little things you could arguably tweak in the future, I can see him absolutely doing that. Very solid 3 out of 4. Like and subscribe to the channel if you want more. Thank you so much for watching. Okay. What the fuck? What? This. Oh my god, this can't be real. This is gonna be a joke, right? I was just reviewing the movie. What? Okay, I can't believe this is actually real. Whoa! What is it? No! No!